Welcome to the Smart Charge by V2G podcast. This is Claudio Gaiken, founder and CEO of V2G. This is your show to learn about all things energy management and smart charging innovation for electric vehicles and fleets. Welcome back to Smart Charge. Today, we're talking with Davide De Michino, who is in Rome. He's a speaker of CharIN's Grid Integration Energy Focus Group and works for Enel X, the big Italian utility. We dive straight into the how of vehicle grid integration, turning charging sessions into flexibility, from peak shaving and time shifting to ancillary services, and what really works today with V1G versus what still needs to happen for V2G or bidirectional charging. We unpack dynamic tariffs, small asset aggregation, and why PV plus storage plus smart charging belongs on one playbook. A big chunk is interoperability, the role of CCS and ISO 15118, the North American connector shift, and CharIN's push for global harmonization, including messy real-world challenges in Latin America where mixed imports fragment the market. If you care about making chargers parts of the power system, not just power outlets, this one connects policy, standards, and products into a single working stack. Plug in. Hello, Davide. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Hi, Claudio.
Good that you made it. You are in Rome, or where do I find you today?
Yes, in Rome.
That's where you're also based mostly, right?
Yes, normally, yes. Here.
Okay, then before we jump into detailed EV topics and energy topics, so that the listeners understand who they are listening to, can you introduce yourself, give a bit of a background, and until you arrive to the role where you are today?
Yes, sure. So I'm Davide De Michino. Currently, I'm the global head of global product management and energy services at Enel X. I also now have different roles. Like today, I'm participating on behalf of CharIN. I'm the speaker of the Grid Integration and Energy Focus Group, but I'm also the e-mobility chair inside the SmartEN association. How I arrived at Enel and in CharIN, it was a natural evolution. I joined Enel in 2006, so it's almost 20 years that I'm a part of the Enel group. Yes, with
Loyalty.
different, very loyal. With different roles. I would say half of this time I spent inside what we call global trading, that is the unit responsible for the operation in the trading market of our power plant in terms of generation. Trading meaning on energy markets. Okay, so was sale, intraday, ancillary services. So more or less 10 years I was involved in that kind of business. Then I move in the retail part of the Enel, following the smart home product before the Italian one. Then Enel X was built. So I moved in the Enel X to follow the smart home at a global level. Then in 2020, I moved in the mobility. Before, just as a senior product manager in the what we call energy services, that was our fancy name for the vehicle grid integration services. Then I take the responsibility of this part. Then I take the responsibility of the whole e-mobility product at Enel X, and recently also on other products. So more or less I follow the beyond commodity solution including mobility for also B2C and B2B, and also other solution for B2B like energy monitoring solution, PV storage, and what we call small asset flexibility. Then naturally, I joined, I became a speaker of grid integration and energy focus group in CharIN, meaning that happened when I take in charge the energy services part in mobility. So there were also my old previous boss that left this position, and so was naturally for Enel to candidate me on in CharIN as this role. And so it's more or less 2 or 3 years that I help CharIN to drive this group that is all about uh, vehicle grid integration, okay, both from a connection point of view, but also from a flexibility service point of view, so V2G, vehicle to grid, etc.
Wow, what quite a broad scope of expertise that you have. That's quite unique. And so maybe as a question that listeners might wonder, are you more interested in the e-mobility aspects and mobility person, or more an energy person, or you would say you like both fields equally?
So as I explain on my background, I would say that my DNA is energy, but naturally I'm becoming also a mobility guy, meaning that in the latest years I needed to enter to understand a little bit I don't want to say the automotive sector, maybe it's too high, no, it's not that way, but at least to understand what is the mobility, and also how I would say the e-mobility is changing also the automotive role in the entire industry, so not only energy, because it's a revolution for us as utility, but also for the automotive that maybe also bigger revolution than one in the utility space.
Yes, for sure. The both spaces are being revolutionized, and then they come and merge together. And what's your vision related to those two spaces? You have been now around for quite some time, so you have seen also the evolution, and you're probably closely also monitoring long-term trends. Is there a vision you believe will happen in the energy space and mobility space?
Okay, for sure are two spaces that are day by day talking more. While I would say when I joined to follow the mobility things, I saw two industry that I would say was connected but not talking together. No, now essentially due to regulation, but due to the opportunity in terms of flexibility that the vehicle can give on the grids, are two, I would say, industry that are, I would say, working together. I don't want to say that are collaborating, but are working together because both have I would say, the same goal. Also, if day by day seems that we will also compete a little bit, no, in this part of the two industry that touch each other. So maybe not now, but so there are different examples that automotive is trying to enter in the energy space. Obviously, is their natural no migration since the EV. So I think that in the future they will compete a little bit with us. So we see as utility, we can see this as incumbent on our space a little bit. Obviously, it's a very early stage, but yes.
And do you think in terms of the energy space, will it be renewables mostly and a bit of batteries? Is there maybe nuclear? Do you have views related to where we are heading? And in the mobility space, is it going to be all electric? And are there going to be exceptions here and there? Do you have any beliefs there?
Let's respond step by step. So regarding the energy, so yeah, renewable for sure. So I don't want to think that someone will change idea, not meaning that we are inside this revolution, so I don't think that anything will change. Nuclear is different, no? Also nuclear that is put inside the renewable technology, so that's for sure have a role, will have a role in the future. How big, I would say that depends on also on the technological evolution. There are different things happening in the nuclear space. I'm not I would say an expert on that, but there are different technology under development that can change a little bit, not only the perception of the nuclear, but also the value inside the generation fleet in a specific country. Inside mobility, yeah, that's a little bit interesting. Passenger vehicle, sure. No matter what, will be battery vehicles. So there is no doubts on that. It's only a question of time. A couple of years ago, I would say only, no, maybe hydrogen on heavy duty vehicle will have space. To be honest, no, seeing the automotive space and the main truck manufacturer, seems clear that will be also battery driven, no? The heavy duty vehicle. I think where the decision has not been taken is marine, where I think battery can have a role, but let's see. So there are different examples in Norway, like ferries, no, that is a reality, are electrified. But long haul cargo, let's see. Okay.
Not yet.
No, I think that will be challenging to be battery. So maybe hydrogen can take a part of this mix. Then aerospace, I don't know. Okay. I would say I'm not a big expert. I saw some research project about battery airplane that are in the first phase of the project. Let's see. I don't know, to be honest. It's something really at the early stage. Who know, maybe also hydrogen can play a little bit of role, no, on that.
Makes
Who
sense.
knows? Yeah.
And in terms of more day-to-day topics, how can we imagine what are the topics that are mostly on your mind that you're dealing with most?
Meaning that as a CharIN reference person of this, I think that there are a couple of technical points, a couple of regulatory points that are usual on our table. One is all the new amendment of the grid codes in terms of connection of the physical asset on the electricity grid. So there are the demand connection and the request for generator that are the two main dossier under amendment, and all the industry is working since, I would say now, maybe 2 years on that. This will change will change a lot of things, especially for request of a generator, where they are putting specific requirement on vehicle to grid, vehicle and charger. That's for sure from regulator point of view is one of the main topic. There is also, is not touching CharIN currently, but we will touch, I think in the future, the demand response network code. That is the new network code that will drive the technical specification on how the demand response service need to provide, and there is a specific part of the sub-metering that I don't remember how they call, dedicated measurement device, if I remember correctly, DMD. And this is also will open a lot of opportunity because it give capability to do sub-meter, to do flexibility, managing performance only on the dedicated device, so you can play with the flexibility just with the charger, but not with the entire building or the entire home. that will be a game changer as soon as will be applicable.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't want to touch other things that are happening on the regulatory that touch also mobility. There is the Data Act, there is the RED 3, that also add the new requirement for automotive to share the data, no? In terms of SOC, essentially SOC, that is one of the main important data. In terms of technical, obviously we are still working on vehicle to grid solution, or in general, as we call in CharIN, bidirectional charging. While now we are seeing more and more commercial pilot, let's call it that way, on DC. We need now to push a little bit on AC bidirectional charging, where there is more value for the end customer in passenger vehicle, essentially for the lower cost of the charger. There is also something that we are working on about battery degradation when we do bidirectional charging. There is a little bit of, I would say, misleading on the industry, not from automotive, that's a good point, but from other industry that battery can reduce their health
The lifetime.
if we do bidirectional charging, so vehicle to X, vehicle to grid, as you want to call. So as CharIN, we are working to have a publication on that. I would say that that's the main point of
Interesting.
on the table. Yes, currently.
And maybe before one step back, before we dive into some of these topics more in detail, what is CharIN? Can you give some background as well and how it was
Yeah, sure.
created? Yeah.
Yeah. So CharIN is the international association that promote the charging standard. Okay, like CCS or any standardization. Is an association that was born since a lot of years, quite new, I would say, in the industry, that merge essentially at the beginning automotive and charger manufacturer, but now is a little bit bigger, then also have utility inside, also DSOs. I would say that this is an association that um, put together different industry in the same place, talking mobility, talking about e-mobility. I would say that it's organized in different working group. No, the one that I'm the speaker that is the grid integration and energy, is mainly focused on the vehicle grid integration in each forms, as I said before, in talking about the grid, the physical connection, but also about the services. While there are all other group more technical about the charger connection, the communication protocols, and is a group of experts that promote the standardization in the industry. In addition, obviously, I would say CharIN is well known in Brussels, meaning that the regulatory office in Brussels, I would say, have a good voice and help a lot in terms of advocacy for all the companies that are representing CharIN. Yes, that's more or less what CharIN did in terms of advocacy. Then I have all the what they call festival events to put together technology to test, I would say, in advance. That's an event that, yes, also non-member can join. Obviously, is not a free event, but it's an interesting event. Since years, they have these 2-3 event per year in Europe, 2-3 in US, etc., etc. So I would say it's interesting opportunity for people that have technology to test, no? Because you find automotive, you find charger manufacturer, you can test together with different brands. Yeah.
That's nice. And the CharIN, is it the main standard I think it's well known for is the CCS. I think that's also the key standard I think that CharIN is pushing. Is to what extent is CCS and ISO 15118 then pushed by CharIN, and where does CharIN stop? So I understand there's like
I mean,
the Type
CharIN
2
is not,
AC.
CharIN is not the regulatory body, no? It's not ISO or CHANELEC or standardization body. It's an
Right.
association of industry players that promote standardization. So obviously we are for CCS, we are for ISO 15118-20, 2, etc. So we just promote the standardization and the interoperability of technology. Okay. Obviously, different people that are inside CharIN are the ones that are also sometimes on the table of the regulatory
Different
body.
heads.
Yes, like
Yeah.
ISO, etc., etc. Yes.
So the scope of still of activities is both on the DC side with CCS, and mostly I understand CHAdeMO that would be out of scope, right? For
CHAdeMO is promoted by another association that is CHAdeMO.
right.
That seems that no is
The
coming
same as
let's say
for
at the end. So I know in the past that they are working on to merge together also with the new Chinese standard, but I don't have latest update. So I think that
GBT,
yeah. Let's
and the
see.
North American
Now I
is
would say
also
Europe is
stopping.
CCS. In US there is no, the famous story of Tesla connector,
Yeah.
of the North America connector that I would say um, still is not clear the future. So were the big bang when they announced this, because also all the automotive day by day announced that they are moving to North America charging connector. Let's see. I still see CPOs that are rolling with the CCS1. So it's not clear if CCS1 is dead. Seems so, but it's not clear. Still not clear. So that's a little bit of mess. No, and it is not good for the user, for the consumer, because when there is uncertainty of the standard, they also slow down the adoption of technology. In that case, the mobility. So
Yeah. And
also
also if
Latin
you're stuck
America
with a product.
also Latin America is still under discussion, while in Chile we can say CCS2. Other countries not the same, and also CharIN is working a lot in that. I would say in the latest year to, how do I say, to advocate for the standardization in Latin America, because there are some country like um, majority, the main one is Brazil, that is, I would say, have a Chinese effect. So they have a lot of GPT imported cars
Mm.
that create a mess on the market. And so CharIN is working to promote, yes, the CCS2 as the main standards.
And what
Other
about
countries, no, please
so
go.
please
No,
yeah, you
other
can
countries
finish.
are still a mess, no? Meaning that at the end, in Europe we are lucky, okay, because we have CCS2. There is no rumors on that. We have rumors on other things, okay, but not on the basic technology. While in the other countries are still at the first step of the electric mobility. No, what is the standard that I need to adopt? While in Europe, this conversation is closed.
Makes sense. And on AC though, is that are you also for is honestly I'm not sure how many AC standards there are out there. I think there's the American, it's Type 1 it's called, right? Then there's Type 2,
And the type
I
two
think
EU, yeah.
in Europe, and then you're focusing on the Type 2 one, right? As CharIN.
Meaning CharIN is focusing also now on North America's charging connector, no? Meaning that is not promoting one specific, it's promoting the
Okay.
standardization. Obviously, CCS2 was pushed and then CCS1 because it seems that one the standard. No, on SC, I think the story is similar. We will have Type 2 in Europe. It seems the North American connector in US. Um, that's from a physical point of view, no? From a communication point of view, I would say that seems that at least on that side we will have the same. So ISO 15118-2 and if you dash 20 seems that would be the standard. That's a good, because at least in terms of languages, we will talk the same language. Yeah.
Got it. And is there, like, in the world of standards that you are involved, you already mentioned a few with grid codes, and is there other big standards that are very relevant to CharIN? Like, also I'm thinking inductive charging, for example, or anything related to V2G or bidirectional.
Uh, I would say, yeah, you in terms of inductive charging, I'm not the one that I'm following this, but there are conversation about that. The Dash 20 also support, the wireless charging. Will happen. I don't know. Now I just see the robotaxi from Tesla that will have this. Is one of the technology that if we will scale or not. No.
Waymo too has a, I think.
Yeah, you're right. In terms of the one that I follow, for sure, the grid code is one of the most important one because is impacting a lot. The Dash 20, yes, is also, as I said, the main one, also because there are different now regulations that are pushing on Dash 20. There are new delegated act from MAFIR that also mandate Dash 20 from 2027 also in private charging. So that will be also impacting, because Dash 20 take a different technology complexity and cost to operate.
And now we have this IEC 161 something, no? That's the pulse width modulation. That's the
Yeah, the
current
PWM,
standard,
I would
right?
say the PWM one is the historical one on AC. That is, I would say, the main, at the end, analogic protocol because they don't change any information. Is the one that, at the end, drive AC charging processes all over the world. Now, the bet is that seems that the push is from Dash 20 also on AC, also on private. That will be a transition, I would say, that will require years because it's the charge that need to be to speak Dash 20, but also the vehicle. And automotive is not the super fast industry, to adopt things. It's a complex industry, very regulated, so will take years. Okay, so we are now seeing Dash 20 DC vehicle, but on AC there are different other complexity on Dash 20. Still require some amendments of the Dash 20 that are ongoing. Yeah, so it's a complex standard, it's a complex ecosystem. Also because, again, we have different standards that need to coexist, no? We have standard from automotive, we have standard from energy, etc., etc., and this also is not simplifying,
Yeah, and I think you're in the best position. There's many people that wonder. We're talking a lot about V2G and bidirectional charging since many years, and I think at this point, this conversation also crystallizes a little bit why it's not coming. Right? And maybe you can also share your thoughts onto why this complex environment. Since I think the coin term V2G was in 1997 by the Delaware professor. So it's been a while. The idea has been around, but we're still just seeing these very recent announcements when just pilot and still no commercial real big scale. So what's your view? Why does it take so long? What's the complexity there, and when will it come at scale?
Maybe for the one that also listen to my other speech that I had in the past, I will repeat a little bit. I think that as industry, we create a bubble some years ago, no? When there were at the end, essentially in Europe, two cars, no? Renault Zoe, Nissan Leaf. And Nissan Leaf have CHAdeMO, and CHAdeMO since the beginning have bidirectional capability.
I
So
bought one, by the way.
obviously, sorry?
I bought one Nissan Leaf,
Yeah,
so
no,
I know.
meaning that obviously all the industry say, oh guys, we have a huge opportunity. We will deploy all the car with bidirectional capability. At that stage, at that period, also different pilot project was a kickoff. So obviously, the fact that the vehicle is not a vehicle but can become a battery on wheels, also from the not expert, was an information that they start to took in the mind, no? But then something happened. Then CHAdeMO more or less was dead. CCS was entering force. At the beginning, the CCS don't have any capability for bidirectional charging. So we needed to wait all the standardization process to arrive to a point where at least from a technology point of view, you can do it in an interoperable way. Okay. And so I think that the latest 3-4 years, when all the industry was a little bit on standby, because we are waiting for something. We are waiting for Dash 20. We are waiting for data sharing, etc. Now I would say, also last year we say 2026 will be the year. I think that now is true. 2026 will be the year where we will start to have a commercial solution. Renault started last year with the Renault 5. Obviously, it's a closed ecosystem. You need to, I would say, buy everything from Renault. I would say that a good start because at the end it's a commercial pilot. It's not something that need now to scale. So it's good. There is no Octopus in UK together with BYD and Zaptec, also closed ecosystem, but at the end something that is moving on in UK. And then there is last week a presentation on the new BMW iX3 that also have a DC bidirectional capability, and they are selling also the charger. And Ion in Germany announced together with BMW the offer. That's good because seems that is not official yet, but seems reading a little bit of article and also tech spec that will be not a closed ecosystem. That's good because this is what we need to arrive in a interoperable V2G. Mercedes also is launching the new electric GLC that seems to have Dash 20 bidirectional capability. So, meaning 2026 will be, and also Volvo, is launching the AX60 with the bidirectional capability, also the 90, if I remember correctly. So also meaning the premium car is starting to do something more massively. Renault also in I would say entry-level car, Renault 5, Renault 4, seems also the Megane E-Tech also now have bidirectional capability. So meaning the industry is moving on. I think next year will be the year where we can start to have solution. Customer will start to try, and I expect we will have a lot of learnings, because that will be the year of I would say big pilots, not hundreds, but we became 10 or 1,000. So all the industry will have learnings.
Makes sense. But
Yeah.
you want to add something? Yeah.
No.
No, I was going to ask. So just to understand, like how the standardization process, you said CHAdeMO had this bidirectional thing. It was because of Fukushima that the Japanese, because CHAdeMO comes from Japan, had built this faster than we had in Europe with the CCS. Nevertheless, it seems it's not a challenge. It would take years and years to get doing. But maybe from the outside, the naive perspective of the EV driver, you can just explain, given that you are so closely involved as well with standardization processes and with this grid codes and the ISO 159 where the car communicates with the charger. Where is what is taking so much time? Where's the big workload, so to say?
I would say that to make vehicle to X services live, there is needed a lot of ingredients. Because you need first to have technology, vehicle and charger. As I said before, is a couple of years that Dash 20 is official and still requires some amendment. And to do a car normally a new platform, so meaning that a proper new car, automotive normally take 8 years, something like that. No, a lot of years. So that's the timing. No, while maybe charger manufacturer are a little bit faster, automotive no. So that's the first thing to know. So and then you have only the technology. Then you need to put this technology on field. This means that the charger need to be connected on the grid. And to be connected on the grid, a V2G charger need to be considered as a generator. It's not like connecting a TV or a dishwasher. No? A generator need a proper, I would say, I would simplify, safety requirement, safety regulation to be connected, and that depends usually country by country, sometimes also DSO by DSO. You live in Germany, no? And the country as Germany, where there is 4,000, if I
800
remember correctly,
something.
800, no, 4,000, if I remember correctly, DSOs. That's a problem, no? Because for, I would say, an industry player, you need to certify devices or cars for different market or sub-market. That's a complexity. Then you just buy an EV, buy a charger, and connect to the grid. Then you need to do something with this energy. You want to inject, but what I need to do? So you need a service provider that need to do this. While it's natural to think that this service provider can be the utility or can be the automotive, is not always the same, no? Can be also a third party that need to communicate with the charger, that need to receive some data from the automotive part, but then need to I would say, extract the value from this flexibility, from this energy. So you need to operate on the market or maybe just inside as a utility in terms of balance the portfolio, etc. So that's the complexity. There are a lot of different ingredients. Each one is complex, and sometimes the ingredients need to touch a different industry. A majority of these industries are heavily regulated, like automotive, like utility, etc. So that's why it's not so simple to arrive to something that is working properly. Also is interoperable, meaning that I can change operator as I did with the electricity contract. No, is something that is not only a contract; it's something that requires digital communication between parties, so requires standards, etc., etc. So, is a lot of things need to happen from different level of the value chain. You know?
No, I think that was a very good explanation. Thank you for that. And you already gave some examples. And do you think now, once 26 arrives, there will be a quick scaling potential, exponential scale? And is there, for example, also a path to retrofit some of the hardware, AC hardware that has been installed there, so that AC chargers not everything needs to be replaced in terms of infrastructure, for example, and it's going to be cheap enough, attractive enough, so that the value indeed that is unleashed through this potential can be taken advantage of?
The transition will be slow, no, because there is no possibility to retrofit. No, if the vehicle or the charger was not designed to have the bidirectional capability, and the Dash 20 is not possible to retrofit. And the Dash 20, as I said before, have some technical requirement that require specific technology. I will simplify, no, but so it's not like taking one. I will send an over-the-air update and this work. No, it's not the case. So obviously, I did not expect a fast scale of this, or maybe a fast scale, yes, but on new sales. No, there will be no retrofit opportunity, I would say. No, that will be not the case on V2G. Then in terms of will make sense from an economic perspective. That depends on the customer segment versus technology. While currently we can say that V2G's technology mature on DC, DC don't make a lot of sense on the passenger vehicle, no, because a DC charger at least will cost €2,000. So to have €2,000 of earnings from V2G, I would say you require some years. So this is why all the industry is pushing to have the AC, but on AC the technology from a regulatory point of view is not mature. We still need to as industry to solve some problem, essentially also on grid connection regulation. But this will be the game changer, and this is why, no, at the end, Renault, Octopus, and BYD and Zaptec had a proprietary solution that is also not proprietary, but is not leveraging the standard, because on AC still there is no de facto standards, not approved standard. But this is where we can scale. So as I said, I don't think that next year will be the year of the scale. Will be the year of thousand of V2G, 10 of thousand of V2G users. We will have a lot of learnings, but I think that we need AC. Maybe I would say the standardization will be close next year, but obviously you need to adapt. So I think that we still need a couple of years when we can arrive on a moment when we can, as industry, we can scale seriously this, meaning that every car will be V2G, every user will be new user will have a bidirectional charger, etc., etc. That obviously, I would say European Commission, but also member state can have a lot of voice in terms of incentives or other policies to speed up these. Okay.
Makes sense, yeah. And just to understand, physically speaking, or from a first principles perspective, the fact that there's a big debate between DC and AC bidirectional charging, and why is AC so much cheaper? Is it because the components in the vehicles scale more, so there's simply more scale at the vehicle side if you put the bidirectional inverter, so to say, there?
No, let's remove another bias of the industry. No, it is not V2G that make the vehicle or the charger more expensive than V1G. Okay, is because in the past to do V2G with the CHAdeMO you need DC, and naturally a DC charger inside have a converter, no, to transform AC to DC, and these have a cost. That's the component that change everything. So if you can leverage the onboard charger, no, the converter that is on board your vehicle, obviously, and you can buy a cheap AC charger that still will have a little bit of extra cost to have V2G, essentially for the Dash 20, that, as I said before, have some technology specification that is a little bit more expensive, but meaning that from a low-level technology point of view, there is not a big difference to one directional charging or bidirectional charging. Is all the other things that need to work to make it happen that a little bit increase the cost. But AC or DC, the cost is just on because you have a converter in DC, so you need to pay the converter cost that is at the end an inverter, and it's expensive. And this is why now you have the BMW V2G charger at €2,000 or 1,800, something like that, while Renault charger is like I don't know, 2,000, maybe also
900,
with installation,
I think.
everything. Yeah, meaning that it is another scale of the offer, no? It's
Double,
essentially for that. Yeah, it's a double.
Yeah, no, makes sense. And do you cooperate with other, different standardization committees? Like there's the IEA that has Task 53, or there's different ones that are trying to align with them? Or?
Yeah, meaning that CharIN obviously is a historical association that collaborate with different ones. I would say the latest big collaboration that we operate is with the IEA Task 53, that is this new group experts that are promoting interoperability of V2G. What means that you can move the vehicle between charger between DSOs and everything will works. And as a CharIN, we are set up in a framework to collaborate because of this our DNA to have interoperable solution. But usually CharIN is inside other groups when where it's possible to have association, because in some groups association is not allowed, okay, to participate all industry pay. But for example, CharIN is in the Sustainable Transport Forum. That is the group on in the European Commission, in the DG Move, that I would say play with the mobility. So yes, CharIN at the end is the unique association for that, and there are no other association on the vertically on mobility.
Makes sense. And beyond, we talked a lot about bidirectional charging and V2G. That's, as we discussed, is not the opportunity right now, but is coming. So vehicle grid integration topics, there are already quite a few that are relevant today. What is the ones that you're looking into mostly? Is it DSO services, or is it more for the energy markets aspects, or more for example, balancing services?
And that depends country by country. No, that's strictly connected on the on how the electricity market is designed for a specific country. While there is a, I would say, general European approach in terms of electricity market, I would say state by state this change a lot. There are different countries that are doing different things. Okay, while no implicit flexibility, meaning, to simplify for the one that are not inside this, meaning playing a little bit with the electricity price, no, speculating a little bit. So for V2G, meaning that I can discharge when the price is high and use this energy to power my home or my buildings, business building, and charge when the electricity price is low. The real value comes more from providing ancillary services, meaning provide flexibility services to a utility, or that can be TSO, DSO. That's when the value can be a little bit more interesting. In addition, the real big value is that if you can stack this, no? If you can try to stack implicit value with, for example, TSO program with the DSO program, that's three value that you can in some country, and depending on regulation you can stack, and that's for a user it will start to become interesting. Maybe on B2C, yes, meaning that at the end I have one EV and one charger, but let's think this about big fleets that can have 1,000 of vehicles to charge every day, or let's think about heavy duty vehicle trucks, that will have a megawatt hour of battery, one single vehicle. And that's the value will become interesting in any case, because we are talking about incredible energy exchange. So that's more or less the value. Obviously, TSO is a market more mature, because ancillary services on TSO, I would say, is one of the DNA of the modern electricity market. The DSO market is something newer in all the European Union. There are different countries that have since different year, I would say, DSO flexibility market. But still, there are good, I would say, good example, not so good example, because DSO, I would say, grids is complex, is very locational, and I would say all the small asset flexibility, including V2G, makes sense when you can aggregate. This means that you need to aggregate 1,000 to make something interesting, while DSO services sometimes is based on the substation aggregation perimeter. That sometimes is very, very small, so you don't have liquidity. You cannot aggregate 1,000 users, you can aggregate 10. but that's you cannot manage properly. Okay, so that's why the SOEs are not yet mature enough. While there is different pilot in Nordics, there are some pilots since I would say 1 year and a half in Italy. France also have some DSO pilots up and running, but still I would say it's early stage.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and then you already hinted up on the level of maturity, and one speculation as well is that the more mature markets, like the balancing services, are less liquid, or there's less potential, and eventually now with all the batteries coming and more EVs participating, that it would also saturate quickly, and then also the spot markets though have more liquidity and therefore would be long term more attractive, and the DSO indeed is still to be determined as it's so immature, right? So would you agree with that? Or
That depends on the one that are managing this, no? If you think about big utility, vertical integrated utility that have generation, distribution, transmission, and also retail, obviously wholesale, okay, yes, there is enough liquidity, but there are not these peanuts that that are changing the position on wholesale market. Intraday will become a little bit more interesting in terms of spike of price. You can play a little bit. But the real money, as I said, is on ancillary services. Why is on ancillary services? Because a majority of this market have a capacity payment. If you offer capacity, you have a token, normally some interesting euro per year, and this is where the majority of value is. Then you have also value of money when you need to operate the asset. No, you need to charge or discharge the vehicle if we are talking about bidirectional vehicle. But that is where there is the value, no, the fixed part of this. Then there are liquidity, meaning that obviously now it's just peanuts, but in the future we need to understand how those technology will compete with the power plant, with the utility scale batteries, no, will be more competitive, or because at the end are both from the user for another purposes. I bought my V to move, and then I can do flexibility, so I don't need to recover the investment of the EV with the flexibility. Maybe, or maybe not, because the user is more sensitive on the price, so it will have a behavior like, if you are not giving some hundreds of euro per year, I don't want to do anything, I would just my car charge it and use it to move. And so maybe utility scale asset can have a role. No one know this, to be honest, in the industry. It's still a question mark.
yeah, it's a very open question. I think that you cannot run a study at massive scale. The time will tell once you try to sell it, right? If people are willing to sacrifice the availability of the vehicle for the value they get, right? That's what your point was.
Right. It's a question of awareness, okay, and the trust of the user. I think that we will have more and more, I would say, well-aware user that understand the concept of doing it, trust the partner that are selling that services, so start this transition. But
Yeah, it's
will
a
require years.
good point. Yeah, and it's I'm sure you also have an opinion on that. I mean, we're talking on a very high level, and I think that's sort of also our bubble. We are aware of these opportunities, but indeed, it's a challenge as well to transmit and educate the market and have the end user engage with the opportunities if they're not aware. Right, that's a big challenge as well.
Yeah, that's the main challenges, and also you have different sub challenges, because saying user is too generic. You have a residential user that have some challenges. You have the fleet manager of last mile delivery company that have other challenges, other perception of that kind of services. You have a facility manager of big offices that need to provide charging services to the employers, have other needs and other awareness or maybe expectation of the services. You can have a public transportation company with electric bus that have other things. So it's complex also for that. No, a different customer segment you cannot manage in the same way. You need different things and different value proposition for each segment.
And you have the privilege, I think this is the first time we have a guest from Italy in the podcast. So definitely we need to talk a little bit about Italy too. What's your view of the Italian market in terms of electrification of mobility and compared to other markets that you observe? And yeah, what might be some surprising facts so that you might give here the international audience as well?
Meaning that we are not the first country in a European graph of the electrification. No, our still market share of electric vehicle are very small. While we are advantages on public charging network, where we have a lot of public charge point. This is obviously also effort from Enel, but also from a lot of company in the latest year. So we have a really competing market on terms of CPO. So from a charging point of view, there is no. I would say Italy is one of the well-positioned country. In terms of vehicle, no, as I said before, we still have to grow on that. Last month, I saw some report are doing very, very well in terms of new sales on EV, so that's a promising number. Still, there are some wave of incentives that is opening soon in Italy, not for all citizen, but for specific citizen and specific businesses. So let's see. I would say I have good feelings on the future on that. So I think that is happening in Italy. Now it's just a question if we want to speed up from a political point of view, from a I would say incentives point of view, or not. I think that now we are a little bit lucky than some country some years ago because we have a lot of entry-level EVs that some years ago was not available. So there is not only, I would say, pure Chinese company BYD that are selling now a lot, but also low entry car from well-known automotive. No, there are Renault that have interesting car. There is also now Citroën that release entry-level car. There are Fiat. There are a lot of opportunity also for, I would say, a customer that is not the executive of a big company, no, but is a normal citizen to also start to have this journey in the EV ecosystem. There are a lot of opportunity and even more in the future because I saw some automotive announcement in the future. So yeah, as we started beginning, I think that the future is electric, no, passenger vehicle, also in Italy.
Yeah, totally. Well, we had a guest here, maybe you know him, Electric Felix, that's traveling around Europe, and he was also charging in Italy, then he charged in Spain, and he was mentioning that yeah, it was a shame that in Italy also the prices were so high compared to Spain as a CPO. Do you think do you have an explanation for that also, and do you think it will get cheaper so that people would also be incentivized even more to switch then to EVs?
And that's one of the problem that always we have in Italy. No, we have I would say high energy cost in general, not only for EV. That's due to some specific taxes that we have on the energy, but also now all the I would say tariff regulation was structured, so is high, and also in terms of electrification cost, our marginal technology sometimes is still coal or gas. We don't have a nuke, we don't have nuclear in Italy, so the base load of the load also in the past was always coal. Now is green, okay, but in the past no. But also now there is a huge debate in Europe now about the system marginal price of the day-ahead market, no, that maybe is not reflecting more the current European power plant generation status. But that's the fact. So currently the electricity price is high in Italy in general, not only on EV, also at home, also everywhere. The one that can charge at home don't have big problem because you can pay less than 0.20 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, it's very, very low. There are no problem, but on public and especially on high power charger, the price starting to become close to €1. Now is a little bit lower in the latest months, 0.60, 0.80, it depends on the CPO, depends on MSP. But yes, it's a fact. In Italy, the electricity is I would say is more expensive compared to other countries that were essential. But it's not for EV or for particular taxes on EV charging, is in general for how the electricity structure is based in Italy.
And do you think there's like this trend to spot tariffs or dynamic tariffs, also both for private but for public chargers, that this could be an opportunity as well for enabling people to charge when it's cheap, when there's abundant green energy?
That's a big debate in the entire industry, no? Because in the past, everyone pushing, we need dynamic rate. We need dynamic rate in everything. We need dynamic rate on energy. We need dynamic rate on grid tariff. We need dynamic rate on everything. Then mature market as UK, started to understand. Maybe the customer, we are over-complexing the life on a normal customer. And then other form of, I would say, smarter tariff was born, what the industry call type of use tariff. When you have a specific tariff, I would say very, very discounted compared to the normal price, just for the specific appliances that you can control remotely, in that you can give the consent on the customer give you consent on the utility or the service provider, normally the utility, to control, for example, an EV charger, and in exchange of this control, that will means that the utility will optimize the charging processes automatically. You have I would say, high discounted rate on the charging processes. Dynamic rates still seem now, I would say, mature just on the Nordics because years of services that was available. In other countries, let's see. So there are some obligation, no? See, obligation is strong, but suggestion from European Commission to have dynamic rates, but is not common to have in all the member states, and customers also are want to be more sure, okay, of the electricity price that he pay. Is not well aware of this mechanism. So is again, as I said before, a mechanism of awareness that we need to build. But maybe we have now more creative solution like type of use, more than dynamic rates, that maybe put a little bit of risk on utility, but from a customer point of view is more easy to understand, is more safe from the customer point of view.
Makes sense. And you said there's a few things on your mind, like the Data Act, that is now a thing that just entered in force a few days ago, if I'm correct.
Friday.
Well, yeah, Friday.
This
So
Friday,
very
that's
timely topic. So it was. So we're recording on September 15th. And what's your take on that? To what extent is it really a game changer? Will the data, so the data access, data pricing change a lot? What's your take on that?
Obviously now is just at the beginning, for sure. For the one that are inside this industry, that act is a bomb, Is a bomb because change a lot of things, It says that every services, that every device that sends some data on the cloud, so what we call IoT devices or services, those data are property of the user, but that's also in the past, but need to be accessible in real time to the customer or by a third party authorized by the customer. That means that this can open a lot of opportunity for service providers that want to provide additional services on that data. And also, second point, open the wave of interoperability of the services. Maybe I have a dishwasher that sends data on one cloud. I want to migrate the dishwasher to another cloud that's need to be mandate. Now, obviously, is a big bang. One of my colleagues that follow the regulators always say that act is like the GDPR for non-personal data. That's the big bang. If for the one that was there when GDPR takes into force, was a mess. Was a big changes in everything, in the
I remember,
contract, in the website, in everything. And that act is the same, but is even more bigger because cover all the other data, usage data, a lot of, I would say, there are huge data flow that need to be regulated, need to be shared. Everyone need to adapt systems, etc. So it's for sure, I think, just the beginning, taking the force 12 September, but I think that we will need year to have a proper deployment in an entire industries, I would say, because it's cross industry of the Data Act.
and
For sure, it's an
one of the
opportunity for startups, for service provider that want to build additional services, innovative services on data.
right. And I mean, as a startup myself, one of the things that as well is I think open and left in the unclear is as there are costs involved, right, for this data to be managed, be it cloud services or storage and then transmission of this data. So obviously the one that has managed the data, and just be taking one example, is the vehicle OEMs. They will have costs, and this is unclear how they will have to price this data access.
That's one of the point that industry is talking about, because that act say that to the user you will provide for free, but to third party, meaning B2B, that want to deliver B2B to C services, that act you can also ask for money. It's not clear how much. It seems that the European Commission will release I would say a paper or some FAQ about how big can be this cost, how need to be calculated. But on automotive, when we talk about some data, there is also the red tree that say that SOC, meaning level of battery, SOH, status of health, meaning how much energy can I charge, I will simplify, and the GPS and the location, when appropriate, need to be shared for free. So no one know how this will work in the future. Okay, meaning I recently wrote a post on LinkedIn about that, suggesting a possible model. No, there is a well-known model in digital services, that is the freemium model. Maybe automotive will open some services, also B2B2C services for free, just delivering some simple data mandatory from the regulation, and maybe more premium services will ask for money. Let's see, that's just at the beginning, and industry is low, obviously, is a complex thing.
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting point, and then time will tell how it will develop. You also you mentioned LinkedIn. You always post interesting stuff there. I can also recommend following you. And one of the things you said is EVs, chargers, aggregator utilities, and grid operators must speak the same language. That means not just ISO 15118-20 and OCPP, but also flexibility-oriented protocols like OpenADR, IEEE 2030.5, and unfortunately many others. These enable real-time coordination, forecasting, dispatch. So, what can you elaborate on how you what was your feeling when you posted that, and what was your sense of mind, just that you wanted to let the people know?
Yeah, what is the feeling? My feeling, but I don't think that only mine, is that it's a mess. No? As we said before, so meaning the charge and vehicle is just one part of the complex ecosystem that we need to build to make V2G happen. There's a lot of things additional that need to be standardized. I mentioned, for example, communication between the flexibility provider and the flexibility services operator, meaning the TSO, DSO, or whatever you will provide will provide a connection. It's still missing, no? There are OpenADR that seems to become de facto standard, maybe, but still not officially this. So, as I say, it's a little bit of mess because there is a lot of things that need to happen. Okay, we need to connect the entire end-to-end. We need to connect the entire end-to-end of the services. Each parties need to communicate between, you know. So you need for each parties one protocol, and sometimes it's not standardized. So there are a lot of things to do. There are the coalition of willingness of bidirectional charging, that is one of the industrial group promoted by the German Ministry of the Economy and Climate Action, launched 2 years ago, where he decided to merge all European industry all together to understand what we need to do bidirectional charging a reality. And one of the deliverables that is everyone can download for free is exactly this. And if we see the end-to-end of vehicle to grid, what we need in terms of data, communication protocol, etc., etc. If you download the report, you understand that it's a mess. Not a mess, but it's a lot of things that need to happen. A lot
Oh
of
boy.
data that are created by different bodies need to be exchanged. And that's why, just to reconnect on what I said before, the first services that we are seeing on the market are services that are completely, I would say, Apple style, no? Like Renault, you need to buy everything from Renault. BYD with the Octopus, you need to buy everything in the same package, because these simplify the service, because they
Makes
have
sense.
full control of everything, of all the data. It's very easy to develop, it's very easy to maintain, it's very easy to test, while interoperability obviously is more challenging.
Yeah, and I think this complexity, that's also the intention behind this European Commission sandbox proposal. I think that you also had, if I saw it correctly, you had hinted to, and you think it's going to be very useful to have more of these very large scale sandboxes. And is that something?
Yeah, that's something that still is like a title on the automotive action plan. No, that okay, let's see. We need to have member states to implement a voluntary V2G sandbox at European level. Different one are working on that. Me too. Together with the European Commission, to understand what this means, to have a sandbox. But my doubts is that is voluntary. So each member state need to decide if they want to have or not. So I expect very fragmented deployment of this. But let's see. There are different meetings in the following months on that. We will see.
Makes sense. As we are coming towards the end, just looking again into the future, what are like trends that you are particularly, or innovations that you're particularly excited about in the, be it in the e-mobility space or be it in the energy space? Or also maybe you can also allow, if you want to think outside the
Meaning that for
box,
sure that
AI, I don't know.
V2G is one of that, no, for sure. Meaning that we are talking a lot because it will be a game changer, no matter what. So it's something that if someone is listening and don't know what is V2G, you need to keep an eye also in terms of investments in this industry, because it will be a game changer for the entire world, no? We will have a huge battery capacity available, idle a lot of hours. So for sure, a huge opportunity for the industry. You mentioned AI, obviously. I think everyone is looking at AI, also the one that are just using it, just using ChatGPT or something like that. So it's something that will change everything in the energy. I would say that are still, because are not a very fast industry, still at the beginning. I expect a disruption in processes, in operation, but also in terms of trading and all this kind of stuff, where up to now technology just helped a human operator to do something. I think that this will change a lot of things in terms of that part of the energy sector. And then I think, I a little bit, I said before, heavy duty vehicle electrification. That will be something to take a look, because it will be huge. It's not only about trucks. It's about heavy duty vehicles. It's about agricultural vehicles. It's about waste management vehicles. It's about mining. In CharIN, we have a dedicated task force on mining, just because they want to electrify that part of process, to have still a supply chain, also component for the battery green. So heavy duty vehicle will be really a huge topics in the entire industry, and for the one that they are interested, take a look on that, because it will be a game changer.
Yeah, no, I also find it fascinating with these massive vehicles, and then in a capacity they need to repower sometimes. And so, what is a last message that you would have as well for the listeners, and how can people reach out to you?
I would say two things. So CharIN is very interesting organization, a lot of experts. So if you want to join, please visit the CharIN website. If you want to reach me, you find me on LinkedIn. Sometimes you find me also on some public event. Okay, so I would say it's easy to contact me and to reach me sometimes. So it's very easy. As I say, to close, I think that V2G will be a revolution. Will require a lot of things. We're just at the beginning. I think that all the industry, the consumer, regulatory body, standardization body will embrace this revolution, because it will be a really game changer for the electrification, for the becoming more green and more sustainable as a society.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to happen. Thanks for sharing your expertise with us, Davide, and wish you also lots of success in your work. And hopefully meet you soon. I had like lots of topics we couldn't cover, but maybe there will be another chance. So have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Claudio. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
This was Davide De Michino from CharIN's Grid Integration Group. Quick takeaways: V1G now, V2G later. Time shifting and peak shaving scale today. V2G needs clearer rules and AC economics. Value stack: real money in TSO ancillary, and DSO services are local pilot driven, stack only when regulations allow. Tariffs: simplified. Hide complexity with type of use options while you test dynamic pricing. Interoperability is strategy. Think CCS ISO 15118 plus OCPP and add a flex protocol, for example, OpenADR for dispatch. And then bundle it. Smart charge plus PV plus storage plus EMS, one playbook, not silos. If this helped, follow, rate, and share Smart Charge. See you next time.